Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. Tower Talk Business Radio brings you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation, including expert consultants and small business owners who have found success, but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their first-hand experience. And now, let's get down to business with Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation.
Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of NEFCU Business Services, along with Denisha Boston Hill, CEO of Keeper of the Brand Marketing and Digital Agency. And we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship.
Ray and I bring you weekly advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview top business leaders in the industry. First, let's jump into Success Chat. According to Bradley Whitford, infuse your life with action. Don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen. Make your own future. Make your hope. I push 24/7, 365, 7 days a week for the success of Keeper of the Brand. Ray, in banking, you encounter many business owners. What do you think should be their recipe for success?
Well, the recipe for success, to me, it all boils down to one word, and that is commitment. Commitment. You need to remember that this is not a scheme to get money. This is not, you like coffee, so you're going to open up a coffee shop. This is, you have an idea, you are passionate about it, and you commit to it. And because you commit to it, that passion grows. And as that passion grows, the business grows. It's a marathon, not a race. Now, moving on, helping provide you with business empowerment today is our guest, Joshua Schneps, CEO and co-publisher of Schneps Communications. Joshua Schneps is the CEO and co-publisher of Schneps Communications, the largest privately owned publisher of community newspapers, magazines, and local websites and business events serving communities in Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Long Island. The community's publications and digital assets include the Queens Courier, the Brooklyn Home Reporter, LongIslandPress.com, BestOfLongIsland.com, and BrooklynReporter.com. Schneps Communications Events Division hosts several business networking, award show, and trade show events throughout New York City and Long Island. The company has annually been recognized for editorial design and advertising excellence. Joshua, thank you very much for joining us today.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, Josh, what inspired your family to launch Schneps Communications?
Well, it was started by my mother in our home with 4 kids. I'm the youngest, and she really started the business as a community activist. My oldest sister, Lara, was born mentally handicapped at birth. And my parents were very young at that time and really didn't know where to go or what to do. And they were told to bring her to a place called Willowbrook in Staten Island, if people aren't aware of it. It was a very large institution that had major cutbacks to their services due to the governor's budget cuts. And my mom started picketing, and she eventually became the face of Geraldo Rivera. And she noticed that as soon as Geraldo came in with his cameras, automatically there was change. She was a school teacher. She worked as a press secretary and really felt the power of the media and started just very grassroots locally in the neighborhoods that she lived in around Bayside and Whitestone, Queens. So it was very organic, the start of the media business.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, did you always stay in that family business, or did you take any detours along the way?
Well, I was a business major, and out of college I was an investment banker. Mm-hmm. And you being in the banking field probably understand it's about 120 hours a week working. And
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different world. But one thing that I realized was if I was going to work like that, I was going to do it for my own business. So I went right from investment banking into the family business, which was about 16 years ago.
Well, that takes a lot of courage. Some people try to, run away from the family business. And here you are one of, few that decide to come back and support the family. So kudos to you, and I'm sure the entire family is happy to have you on board. So,
well, I think I was fortunate also in that I had that option. Some people would love to be able to have that opportunity, but it has to be something that you're passionate about for sure. So I think me and my mom share a passion, and that's why we're successful as a team.
Fantastic.
What makes you most excited about leading the company and working in the family business?
We're in an interesting business at an interesting time in media, for sure. I mean, I think one of the things that's fulfilling for us is that we are very much into local news and local coverage, community by community, and that's throughout Queens, Brooklyn, and Long Island. And for us to be able to be in a position where we can create change and reach so many people through our newspapers, our magazines, our websites, our email newsletters, our social media accounts, as well as these events, it really is a kind of a privilege to be able to cover the things that people are doing well and hold people accountable for the ones that aren't, and to be able to reach so many people and make an impact.
What developments do you see in the future with the rise of digital? Your company has their entire digital platform?
So, yeah, we've invested a lot in digital. I mean, for us, print is still a really big part of our business, and print is growing, and we're going to be looking to do some exciting things on Long Island. But we've invested a tremendous amount in our websites, and we have leading brands. Long Island Press on Long Island, which we're going to be relaunching very soon. QNS.com in Queens, which is the most trafficked site in the borough of Queens. And then in Brooklyn, we actually have 3 websites. One is Brownstoner, which is an enormously successful real estate website that reaches over 1 million people a month. And then a millennial-focused Brooklyn.com, which is a millennial-focused website, and BrooklynReporter.com. So we have a pretty significant audience of over 3 million a month throughout our different websites.
That's a nice touch point.
Now, 16 years in the business, I'm sure you've seen the business succeed, and you've experienced some failures along the way. I mean, that's just the natural thing with regards to any business. Tell us a little bit about what you've experienced in that ride and what other business owners can potentially learn, from those stories.
Well, when I started working with my mom, we worked in a small office with a small team. And, I think the number one thing for us that's helped propel our growth is getting the right people in place and building the right team. So we're very fortunate in that we have, fantastic people that lead the different parts of our business that enables us to continue to grow. And I think that's probably, our single greatest asset is the people that we have and that have helped us to really grow into covering different communities.
And any challenges along the way?
If I said that, I would lie. There's definitely challenges, and I think that's probably what makes it exciting, is that I think every business has its challenges, and I think particularly in media, because there is no right answer. Everyone is definitely in the period of experimenting now. But for us, I think that creates a lot of opportunity, a lot of excitement.
Excellent, excellent. You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Denisha Boston Hill, and our guest today is Joshua Schneps, CEO and co-publisher of Schneps Communications. Josh, moving on a little bit, you produce several events. Certainly there's a presence on Long Island and Queens and the boroughs with regards to Schneps Communications. Tell us a little bit about some of your events.
Sure. So we produce over 30 different events a year, and we also do festivals. So we do everything from business-to-business networking events where we honor women in business, young professionals in business, men in business. On Long Island, we have the Long Island Power List, which is a group of the most powerful, influential people on Long Island. We recognize high school students with a journalism award. But they are great ways of just meeting new people and connecting people. We host those business events throughout Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island. We call it our Star Network, where we kind of connect all the people that have been recognized throughout the years. And we've been doing it now for about 16 years. And then we have a group of events that are for health expos, kids and family expos. And I also run a flea and food market every weekend in Long Island City, Queens, called LIC Flea and Food, which is a huge food festival with a beer garden. But it keeps it keeps us busy for sure. But I think we're big networkers. My mom and I both sit on a lot of boards and interact with a lot of people. So we find the events a great way to just bring all of our contacts into a room to meet each other and to be able to network. So we're always looking for new people to be a part of the events. Our website, starnetwork.com, is where people can nominate to become a part of any of these events. So it's just a form to fill out on our website. And then we promote them through all of our different media outlets to let people know about them and let people know about the people we're honoring and to find new people to honor.
That's excellent. And Denisha, I think I sense the need for us to have an on-site Tower Talk broadcast from the beer garden.
I think so.
Okay.
I would love it, especially after hearing you drink a few beers.
But just the evolution of the events in itself, it seems like you're changing as the city's changing, and you're innovating as the landscape of the city is going to, reaching out and connecting with more millennials, really staying connected to the community. So that in itself is really innovating and powerful. So you're definitely on the cutting edge of that. What would you say to a young media professional out there that's looking to jump ship and start their own media business? What advice or tips would you provide that youngster?
I mean, I'm a big believer of work ethic and certainly picking the brains of as many people as you can. So I think you have to learn every part of the business. When I first started working for my mom, I basically helped start a newspaper. So I did every part of the job there was, whether it was distributing the newspaper, writing stories, taking pictures. So I think that for me, at the time I didn't realize I was just doing what had to get done. But looking back on it, I think it was a great opportunity to learn everything about the business and also, relate to employees that are doing the jobs that they're doing now, to make it clear that I understand what they're going through and I understand it's not easy what they're doing. So I would certainly say that you also have to be a people person in this business, because everything in this world I feel like is about relationships, and particularly in media, you need relationships to find great stories, or you need relationships to be able to sell advertising. So I would say that they would have to be outgoing and attend a lot of events and get engaged in the communities that they're serving.
Now, Josh, what are the 3 biggest accomplishments that you've had with Schneps Communications?
I mean, I think like I said earlier, certainly, having a fantastic team. I think that those are, things that we have great leaders in place where I can, start these new businesses, or when we make acquisitions where we have people that are running those businesses. I think the second thing is changing our culture. My mom started this business 30 years ago, and we started primarily just as a newspaper business. And I think for us, making the investment and communicating why we're making that investment to our team, and also sharing with them and giving them the tools to be able to become more successful in the changing world of media. And I would say just trying new things. And for us, we've been fortunate that they've been working.
You are now listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Josh Schneps, CEO of Publishing of Schneps Communication. My name is Danisha Boston Hill, along with Ray Schwartz of the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present.
When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
When I grow up, I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
When I grow up, I want to be a fancy backsplash.
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
When I grow up,
I want to be a bench on a forest trail. I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch.
I want to be a skyscraper.
I want to be
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Danisha Boston Hill, along with Ray Schneps. And our guest today is Josh Schneps, CEO and publisher of Schneps Communications.
Josh, in your position, you rub elbows with a lot of CEOs, a lot of business owners. Who are some of the people, business leaders that you look up to and why?
Well, I guess the first one would be my mother. I mean, learning from my mother has been an amazing experience. And, you know, she's still the president of our company and still very engaged and active. And, you know, I certainly have a great deal of respect for her as obviously my mother and a person. But, you know, to be able to start something from scratch and to be able to, you know, establish a business, I think is probably the toughest thing. So I certainly have learned and continue to learn from my mother a lot, and certainly someone that I have great respect for. You know, obviously there's huge media moguls out there. Mm-hmm. You know, I love to read different books about how people started their businesses. You know, obviously one that's, you know, in the media a lot is Rupert Murdoch, who owns one of the probably largest media companies in the world, but a lot of people don't realize that he started the company with basically, you know, one daily newspaper in Australia. So, you know, it's an intriguing story whether you agree with him politically or not. He definitely grew a business to great heights in industry. And then right now there's a lot of these, you know, young tech entrepreneurs that have started these businesses and have grown huge following in very short periods of time. So I try to just take a little bit from all different people that I meet and experience.
Now, what's next for Schneps Communication? You know, are focused on print. You know, you're dabbling in the digital world with the Stars Network. What really excites you and the team?
Well, we'll be doing a lot on Long Island. Me and my mother most recently just acquired the Long Island Press. We also have been running the Beth Page Best of Long Island for the last 2 years. So, you know, for us on Long Island, we're going to be expanding LongIslandPress.com, and we're looking to do a lot more with the press brand on Long Island. So I think for us, that's a big focus of ours. And then we very recently acquired Brownstoner.com, which is very large in the real estate community. We're looking to do more and more there.
Fantastic.
So a lot of work in real estate. What are the areas you're focusing on?
Well, the events, you know, we have an event going on almost, you know, every other week. So, you know, for us, we also host a lot of different festivals, a lot of different food festivals, beer festivals. We have one coming up in Long Island City, which is a taco and beer festival. So, you know, we're just experimenting with different types of events that we're doing, both ones that are just fun for people and then other ones that are business about, you know, building their businesses. So certainly, you know, doing a lot there.
Gotcha. And the responses, I'm assuming that, you know, again, it's kind of hard to knock a taco and a beer fest.
Yeah, if you don't have a good time there, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, then you're in a lot of trouble. Tell us a little bit about the Kings and Queens, because I'd like to learn a little bit more about that. And
Sure,
I think some of our listeners would be very interested.
So, you know, the events, again, was started by my mother. She went to an event, and they were honoring all men. So she started the top 10 power women in business. And that event started about 16 years ago. And it just grew and grew and grew in Queens to get upwards of almost 1,000 people in attendance.
Wow.
And it was people that came out because some of these women just have never been recognized before in their lives, to the point where other people wanted to meet the women that were being honored, to people just realizing it was a great networking opportunity. And it organically grew into Brooklyn because we had a group of newspapers there. And then we started an event called the Kings of Queens, which was just honoring men. And then our Stars Under 40, which are obviously young professionals. And then we just started those slowly in Brooklyn as well. So then we had these 6 events. And then our office in Brooklyn is based in Bay Ridge, which is at the foot of the Verrazano. And we had a lot of relationships in Staten Island. So we started our Power Women in Business in Staten Island and the Kings of Staten Island event. And about 2-3 years ago, we started the Power Women in Business on Long Island and the Kings of Long Island. So those events basically bring together about 40 honorees that are from those communities or are do business in those communities or serve on a nonprofit in those communities. They're active in those communities. It could be a religious leader, a community leader. It's not just successful business people. We really try to look at it from a diverse group of business leaders, community leaders. We look at it from an ethnic background. We really want as much diversity as possible. And the beauty of it is when you recognize these 40 people, they really do business together. That's our big goal. We introduce them together. And then we do cocktail parties and smaller networking events to bring together all the past honorees from all the different areas. So people on Long Island are meeting people from Queens are meeting people from Brooklyn, people from Staten Island are meeting people from Brooklyn. So it's become just a great way of connecting people that would not have met before. And I think a lot of times when you go to these events, if you could just meet a couple of great people, it's well worth your time besides having a good time from a business perspective. So our goal with all these events is to, A, recognize great people, B, connect great people, and then 3 is for people just to be in a room with a bunch of people they've never seen before. So, for us, we're able to then promote all those people through our media outlets, and it's created a lot of synergies and just a lot of people doing business. So, they continue to grow, and we continue to create kind of new events to keep it exciting and keep it fun. And I think that's probably what differentiates a lot of our events, too. They're not boring events, that's for sure. You definitely can have a good time while meeting people.
I think so. And if you haven't attended, you should definitely try to, because when you walk away with that program in your hand of all the contacts with everyone that you've been networking with and everyone who has been honored, it really makes a difference when you step out of the event and you say, you know what, I have a connection with some of these honorees and some of the people that were in attendance. And you tell them that you attended the event, and they're really welcoming.
At the end of the day, people like to do business with people they like. And if you can meet them in an environment that's outside the office where you can connect, it's always a great way to establish relationships.
Yeah, I think I have like 4 or 5 of the programs.
I love it. I love it.
All right. You are now listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Denisha Boston-Hill, and today our guest is Joshua Schneps, CEO and co-publisher of Schneps Communications. Now, Josh, in the media business, obviously you have a lot of competition. And you mentioned some differentiators, and I certainly think that helps. What other ways do you handle competition in the business that you're in?
I think you just learn from competitors. So, I'm the kind of person that everything that takes an ad is a competitor, and I like to keep my eyes on everything. And, I think if you could take away one good thing, that's what I like to do at a lot of these seminars that I go to. If you could just take away one thing that potentially someone said or that someone's doing, and look to improve your business in that way, then that's great. I mean, obviously, you either A, having a monopoly or B, doing something terrible if you have no competition. So I think if you're in the right field and if you're in a field that makes sense, you're always going to have competition. But, we've thrived with having competitors, and in our business, we know that that's always going to be a presence, and I don't think it's intimidating. I think it's something that keeps us on our toes, and certainly, I'm always a competitive person, grew up playing a lot of sports, and, I think competition is healthy.
Now, what's the most interesting business? Well, that may be hard to answer, but what is the most interesting business? You don't have to name names necessarily, but you can maybe go into the type of business or maybe the story that was involved. But what was the most interesting business story you've had when you visited with a business to talk with them?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know if I can answer that. I would probably say my meeting with Mike Bloomberg at his company.
Okay.
And one of the things that I found amazing was that he works at a cubicle, and he's very approachable, and all of his conference rooms have no doors, meaning that they don't close doors and go behind doors for closed meetings.
No secret meetings.
No secret meetings. And for me to see someone so successful, not be in a corner office, certainly was very impactful, and I thought very interesting. And, he's running the business. He's not just, there to be there. So I thought that was an interesting psychology in terms of the workplace, and certainly for someone at that level to see an open floor plan was very interesting.
That is interesting. Now, obviously, focusing on success, you can't be successful all the time. As I said, you have a 16-year ride in the business. At some point, there's going to be challenges, and a failure is a first attempt in learning, as they say. What things have you seen in the businesses you've worked with, or maybe even in your own business, that has been a first attempt in learning, a failure, but something that maybe that other businesses could learn from?
Well, I would say, when I first started working with my mom, when I started that newspaper, it was a partnership with another newspaper.
Okay.
And I learned a lot from it, and it was a great experience, but it's very difficult working with partners. I happen to be very fortunate that I work with my mother, but when you get other parties involved, without knowing the other person really intimately well and have a clear understanding of what each person's role is going to be, that can create a lot of obstacles. We ended up ending that partnership. And I think from there, I told myself that I would never go into another partnership. And it wasn't anything negative. It was just a learning experience to realize that sometimes when you're an entrepreneur and you're used to making your own decisions and making your decisions quickly, and me and my mom are both kind of like outspoken people and both people that are very intimately involved with our clients, that we pull a lot of weight. And if you're going to bring on a partner, they would have to bring on as much weight, if not more. So, I think I just learned that it could be right for a lot of other people, because obviously there's many partnerships. But I think, for me as an entrepreneur, I would say that, you'd make sure to have a clear understanding of everyone's responsibilities before getting into any partnerships.
I totally agree. I think that it's just so hard, and I think we're cut from the same cloth in
Right,
that
I love
respect.
it.
So partnerships are not for everyone. That being said, Josh, you do a lot on the community side. You sit on several boards you mentioned earlier today, and I think you're part of that Nassau Community College family. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you're involved here?
Well, the Tower Foundation is something that I'm new joining and leading, and happy to be a part of it and see how I can get involved on campus here and in improving the campus and getting other people involved in Nassau Community College. And, I've sit on a lot of boards that I feel benefit people, and obviously education is a huge impact on Long Island and everyone. So I'm excited to be here, and I sit on a lot of other boards where I feel it makes an impact, and I'm excited to be here.
Great. So how can our listeners connect with you, connect with Schneps Communications, and get involved and attend your events?
Yeah, sure. So Schneps, SCHNEPS, communications.com is kind of our corporate site that shows everything that we're doing. Our business events are all available on starnetwork.com. The Long Island Press, obviously, is longislandpress.com. Best of Long Island is we have nominations open, and I would definitely tell every business it's free publicity to get involved. And literally, you just go to bestofli.com and you can nominate your business. In Queens, our big site is qns.com, and the other sites that I mentioned in Brooklyn. But the business events certainly is something that I would tell everyone to get involved with, and starnetwork.com is where you could find the next one coming up.
Great.
Thank you, Josh. We'd like to thank our guest, Joshua Schneps, CEO and co-publisher of Schneps Communications. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
I'd like to leave you with one final thought, a quote from Jim Morrison. Whoever controls the media controls the mind.
We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Denisha Boston Hill. The creative director of Tower Talk Business Radio is Rudy Breedy. This is an NCC Foundation Business Leaders Council production. Visit ncc.edu/WHPC for more information. Available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We'll talk with you next week.